G'day guys, Mac with the Circle. Today we're going to create some empirical evidence. Well, we're not creating the evidence, it already exists. All we're doing is finding it, pointing it out, and showing people. Why am I doing this and what am I doing it for? Well, those are very good questions, that's why I asked them to myself. This is to show people why Custodes are so fucking hard to kill, and hopefully Forge World will take notice and factor this in when they rebalance the list, which needs to be done. So, what does it all mean? Blue are weapons that kill or ignore marine armor saves. Obviously this doesn't include Terminators and HQ, we're talking about the basic majority of an army here, which will be 3+ armor saves, toughness 4. So, blue ignores marine armor, green ignores marine armor and causes instant death. Yellow ignores Custode armor, and red ignores Custode armor and causes instant death. This isn't all the weapons available in 30k, this is most of the weapons, however, available to a Marine Legion, which is spread out over this data sheet here, which I've sort of broken up in order to fit it on the screen in a nice big size so everyone can read it. Now, once you take all this data, you can plot some graphs. Welcome to the boring part of the episode. I will now explain in detail what's going on. So, ignores marine armor and causes instant death. Ignores Custode armor and causes instant death. So, you'll see that roughly 2 to 1 weapons that will ignore marine armor compared to Custodes. And on top of that, when it comes to weapons that ignore armor and cause instant death, 5 times as many weapons will instant kill a Marine as will kill a Custode. Now, this is important. What's even more important is when we move to the next graph. And this is how many of each weapon type is a template. Now you'll notice that all of a sudden the weapons that instant kill Custodes, a lot more of those are templates on the second chart. Whereas with the Marines, a lot more of the weapons that cause instant death it starts to become more single-shot weapons or multi-shot weapons as opposed to a big bad boom. As you can see with the Custodes chart on the right, however, most of the weapons that affect them are only single-shot weapons as opposed to being template weapons. Now, what does this mean in the big scheme of things? Well, we'll move on to our next little pictures, and this breaks it down nice and simple. Here we have 2 average-sized squads, a 10-man Marine squad on the left, and on the right a 5-man Custodes squad. First thing you notice, the Custodes 40mm bases, a lot bigger than the Marine bases, nearly double the size. Further to this, the Custode bases have a 3-inch coherency as opposed to the 2-inch coherency on the Space Marines. Now, when you take another step forward, let's drop a standard size template on their heads. What do you notice? Well, a 3-inch coherency and a 5-inch template means that it's never going to be wider than more than 2.5 inches. Therefore, there'll always be a 1/2 inch gap between the next model and the template if the unit is spaced out correctly. With Marines, this is not so. And ideally, this is the sort of best case scenario for dropping a template on a Marine squad. This is your best case scenario for dropping a template on a Custode squad. Obviously this doesn't take scatter into account, but this is important, and why it's important means you have to go back a couple of charts. You see, when most of the weapons that can instant kill a Custodes army are templates, all of a sudden the fact that you can hardly hit anyone with them, that becomes a pretty big deal. When you also think about it, the fact that so much of the stuff that can actually hurt Custodes is single shot, and that Custodes have an invulnerable save against it, that's also another huge factor, because it means that 1 in 3 of the damage coming in is just going to get ignored, especially when it comes to things like Typhons that ignore cover saves. So these are the reasons why Custodes are so hard to kill. It's not that you can't bring firepower to bear, it's that you can't bring enough firepower to bear and hit miniatures. A Demolisher Shell, for example, would be this 5-inch template. It can kill one model, and that model still has a, well, even if you get a direct hit, you got a 1 in 6 chance that's not going to wound, and if it does wound, they've got a 1 in 3 chance of making the armor save, which is a big deal. The Marines don't have that chance. And again, looking back to all our lovely templates here, you know that a lot less weapons can hurt them, and hurt them efficiently, and on top of that, a lot less weapons can instant kill them, and out of those that can instant kill them, many of them simply can't hit more than one model. Whereas against Marines, you have lots and lots of weapons that can not only hit multiple models, but they can hit all those squishy models, and they can cause instant death. So things like 2 wound Terminators, things like that. A Medusa shell is just terrifying. A battle cannon, even in the right spot, could be dangerous. A Basilisk shell, terrifying. But against a Custode player, it's not so bad. In fact, it's worse for the Custode player if you're scuddy and might manage to hit 2 models. So, that's the empirical data. That is why. And for those who are curious what the actual breakdown is, 7 blue weapons, 24 green weapons, 12 yellow, and 5 red. Out of that, 6 blue weapons are templates, 9 green weapons are templates, 3 yellow weapons are templates, and 5 red weapons are templates. Anyway, that's the empirical evidence on why it's so hard to kill Custodes. You can't hit as many of them, you have less weapons that'll hurt them, and out of the ones that can hurt them, they can actually save them. I'm Mac with the Outer Circle. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.